So the news article says that your husband was lying in a hallway and he was able to tell the officers that he had been shot and you were the person that did it, right? I think the problem is that people don't realize that he died as a result of his injuries from beating you, basically, right? You said he got shot in the shoulder, and by him pistol whipping you over and over, the bullet traveled to his heart. But the crazy thing is that these articles, they have it incorrect. Like they say that he got shot in the chest, he got shot in the heart, or
Yeah, there's a lot of people can write whatever they want apparently,
because in some of the articles I did read though that he was beating you until he got exhausted. Keyword exhausted, right? And I don't know. It's just like you said, like the stigma.
So it wasn't that he was exhausted. It was actually that, so he gets shot in the shoulder. He starts beating me with the gun. And that shoulder, the same shoulder that you're using that's why it traveled. The bullet traveled. And he was bleeding out while he was beating me. So eventually he lost so much blood that he was not coherent anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I was able to wiggle out from under him and run, he was when he was in the ambulance is when he passed away. They say he had lost too much blood.
So when you're dealing with the aftermath of that, were you afraid like, oh, I'm going to prison for this, or were you confident that they were going to rule it as self-defense?
So at the time, just dealing with the emotions, right, of almost dying. We were in two separate ambulances. I had no idea that he would die. No idea. If a person gets shot in the shoulder, especially a big gorilla-ish kind of dude like he was,
Right.
he ain't going down from no shot in the shoulder. That ain't nothing, right? So, I'm on drugs. They pump me full of whatever, morphine or whatever, and start stapling and sewing my face and head back together. And when I come out of whatever in the hospital, there's officers there already, and they want to take my statement. So they staple me up and they send me with the officers. And I'm still doped up. I don't really, I'm not really knowing what's happening, but I know I'm going with the officers and they're going to ask me these questions and they're taking me to the precinct. So I'm like, oh, wow, I guess I'm going to get locked up. I mean, that's what you think,
Right.
right? They're taking me to the precinct. So they're like, but they're telling me, and I'm in the back of the cop car, and I'm not in handcuffs or anything, but they're just like, yeah, we're going to get your statement. And I'm like, yeah, you had to do it at the precinct? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So, I go to the precinct and they question me and they say what happened. And I broke down everything that happened. And at the end, they looked at each other and they said, okay, makes sense. It matches up. You're free to go. And I was like, well, what's up with him? They were like, well, he died. And I was like, wow, no. They're like, yeah. And I said, well, and I just sat there and they were like, yeah, but we know he said something before he died that lets us know everything you said is right. And I was like, well, what did he say? And they refused to tell me. They said, no, you don't need to hear that. And I was about to open my mouth and ask other things. And, God in my mind said, just walk out of here. And that's what I did. I just closed my mouth and got up and walked out and called somebody. I forget who I called to come and get me.
So that
But
moment you were feeling like it was almost surreal, right? Like it didn't
yeah.
seem real at all.
And then I was high, right?
Right.
I'm doped up on whatever they gave me So I'm not really feeling any pain yet from the staples and the things and my head trauma and all this stuff. So I'm just like woozy, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. And remember, I've been up for days just dealing with him. So it
Do
was
you ever
crazy.
wonder what he did say, or you kind of you just let it go?
Absolutely. To this day, it haunts me. Like, so he must have said something like, I hope that bitch die or something,
Right,
right?
right.
Because why wouldn't they want to tell me? Why would they say, oh, nah, you don't need to hear,
Because if
you
he said
know?
something like he accepted the blame, like I'm the one that said,
Then they would have said
right,
that. I feel like they would have said that. But he must have said something, yeah, fuck that bitch. I hope she dead, you know?
right.
Is that bitch dead yet? Or something,